Hello, everyone. I am just getting a video uploaded from earlier. I forgot I hadn't done it yet. We'll be getting started in just a second. Okay. Oh, what happened to my camera? I'm looking up at the sky. That's a little more like it. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Come in and know me better, man. What a great movie. I watch that movie year round. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you should. Muppets Christmas Carol. It is so good. And there's this big kid, this character. Let's see if I can find a picture of him. Where is he at? Where is that big boy? All right, fine. I'll search for it directly. I am the ghost of Christmas present. Oh, come in and know me better, man. It's such a good movie. It has, it's not like, because it's Muppets, it's good. No. It is unironically an excellent standalone film, and you should definitely go watch it. Sorry, I just ate dinner, and my body doesn't eat well for some reason. I always have, congestion after I eat anything that, has fat in it, or, soda. It's really strange. So I'm going to be coughing. I'm okay, I promise. It's just my life. It's how it's sometimes it's just, that's how it be. That's how it do. Hey, Sujan, welcome. Mo, it looks like it's working on my end. Try refreshing the stream or make sure you're not muted, because that does happen. Hello, Jessica, welcome. Before I forget, there is one new change to the stream format. I have included up here in the screen, if you see this little box that says 368-004 in it. It is now set up, and I may forget from time to time to change it. Unfortunately, I have to toggle it manually for every single, it's called a scene, every little layout. So the difference, this is a scene. If I put it back on the starting soon thing, that's a scene. This is a scene, and so on. All of these things, I have to manually trigger it from section 1 to section 4 and then my analytics class. So if I forget, let me know. But hopefully you'll see that little indicator 368-004 up on the screen. And the point is, I'll do this in a way you can see it. You can type a message and it will appear on screen. And see, there it is. Up here, Rob Cook. You can type a message and it will appear on screen. So that's something you can do now. Of course, you can still type in Twitch chat. And that appears above my head. So both of those are options. Feel free to use either of those. I don't really care which one you use. But I figured, what the heck, why not? So I've included that as an option in case you want. So that's the thing. Feel free to use that. All right. There will come a day. There will be a day when I push F11 and screens will fill and debug menus will not load. But it is not this day. Today, we fat finger. That's my Lord of the Rings reference for the day. That's my best Aragorn impersonation. I wish I could just always speak in movie quotes. I did see a movie where a guy did that, and I'm pretty sure he turned into a serial killer at the end, so maybe I shouldn't do that. Or at least I should stop before the serial killing part. That's probably at least, the minimum. Movie quotes, yes. Serial killing, not so yes. Okay, so announcements. All right, we got 2 slides today because I was trying to get a lot on the screen and it just wasn't going to fit. So I put this big annoying block right here that says, please go to the next slide, because there's going to be somebody who reads these 3 bullets and they're like, oh, that's all the bullets. And I'm going to be like, no. So hopefully if you look at it too quick, well, I can't do anything for you. But okay, so it ain't the 15th. I didn't change the date. Well, okay. It is what it is. I'm going to fix it on my source file. Why am I like this, guys? I wish it would update on the 30th. Nope. Okay. Well, it's updated on the source file now. It'll take a minute to synchronize. I'm not going to reload the document. You know what it says. It's April 20th. So, University Climate Study Survey available. We have 1 more week. It expires next Monday. Please, please, please get that filled out. Join me in getting that filled out. If you haven't got it figured out already, Restoring MindTap access instructions are posted on D2L. I know I've been working with some of you. If you email me in the last 24 hours, like 10 p.m. or so last night, up until now, I have not gotten back to you. But the short answer is this. The instructions work most of the time. The one thing I know that will break it is sometimes if you go and access MindTap through D2L, it won't re-give you the renewal button on the side. And for a lot of people that have gone through, just gone to Google, type in, MindTap or like Cengage Unlimited or something, and then you log in from like directly without going through D2L, that'll pop up. However, I have had a couple people that did that, meaning logged in directly, still had a problem. Now, coincidentally, both of them were MacBooks on current OS using Google Chrome. I don't know which of those things is the problem. Possibly none of it. Maybe just coincidence. I have no idea. So that's the truth of it. I have no idea. But you can reach out to Cengage support. My understanding is that they are very slow. As you can imagine, they're overloaded, overwhelmed like anything else is right now. So you're going to have to be prepared to wait. The good news is you're at home, presumably, so you can like watch Netflix or something. I'm sorry. I really am. I wish I knew how to fix it for you. So I'll say this. If you are stuck and you fix it by talking to the chat people, please tell me what they tell you so that I can spread it to other people. So if you take one for the team, let me share the results of your suffering. So please let me know. I wish I could tell you what to do. Okay. We basically are fitting 3 chapters in 4 class periods or so. No, Sujan, no. I'm not giving extra credit points for that. As we've discussed before, we're not giving extra credit for that. I tried last semester, and it was a huge hot mess. So we'll see if they can get a system figured out that's actually reliable. Then I'll be more incentivized to actually use the system when it actually works. Because it didn't last time. And they made bold promises that it would work, and it didn't. I'm not sure whose fault it is. I'm not trying to point fingers. I'm just saying it didn't work last time. And technology that doesn't work is worse than no technology at all, because you could have just done it by hand and it would have worked. Anyway, point is, we need to fit 3 chapters in 4 class periods, so we're skipping finite populations and population proportions. I have something in my eye. So we'll finish Chapter 8 today, and then we'll bounce on over to Chapter 9 in the future. But for more on the upcoming schedule, let's come down here. Okay, so largely this is not as scary as it looks. It looks like there's a tremendous amount coming, and to a degree there is, but a lot of it's low stress. So Don't panic. Give me a chance to get through this, okay? And I've also brought a couple things to I've brought some things to hopefully be a nice little relaxing break from the stress. Oh no, wrong button. This one. Okay. So what do we got? Well, because chapter 7 was supposed to be due, but people are having trouble getting access, I've moved the deadline for everyone to Wednesday, this coming Wednesday the 22nd. So if you're still having trouble with MindTap, haven't got it figured out, I'm happy to move this back more. But I just figured a lot of people have had a headache, so I'll just go ahead and move it back for everybody. If you haven't done chapter 7, go ahead and get that knocked out. You're welcome. Glad I could help. Okay, I shrank this text box, and I regret it. It is way too freaking small. Let's go back to that. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Okay. It was way too small. I'm going to move it on here, too. Hold on. All right. Do I need to move it on all of these? Probably. Shoot, man. What can I say except you're welcome? Oh, it is whack. Oh, it's because I've got it locked. That's why. Where's my Twitch chat? Twitch chat. Chat box. That's the one. Okay. We're getting these all tidied up. What can I say except you're welcome? Wait, where's my chat box? Why is it down there? What happened? Man, sometimes it be like that, don't it? All right, pretty close. Okay, we back. Cool. All right, so, hey, Freddie, what's going on? Okay, got that sorted out. So, Chapter 7 deadline extended to Wednesday. So, don't need to ask for Wednesday. It's just there. You're good to go. Chapter 8, I posted it this afternoon. That will be due on Sunday, so we're going to finish that up today, and you'll have everything you need. We're done with the chapter. I took out like 2/3 of the chapter homework, to be honest with you. It was a lot. It was too much. So it was like 9 questions. I think it's 4 now. So again, you're welcome. Have at it. Chapter 9, we're obviously not going to even be starting today. We're only on slide 11 of chapter 8, so we got a ways to go there. I'm going to go ahead and give it to you on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, even though I don't anticipate us finishing it until Monday. But I want you to go ahead and get started, potentially over the weekend. I could potentially be talking to moving the date back from Tuesday to the 28th. For now, this is what I want. I want us to plan on this. I might move it back, but I want to plan on this for now. Just because we do have several things to do at the end of the semester, and I want to get them done. Oh, I know. Shoot, there's another thing that I forgot, and I put it on my to-do list to fix it, and I didn't. Okay, that's important, and that is worth remaking this. Okay, let's just. It's in my head now. What can I say except you're welcome? It's probably not synced yet. Let's see. Nope. Let's try again. How long does it take to synchronize? Let's find out. Boom. Not too long. It was like, what, 5 seconds? That's pretty good. Pretty good. It's good. Yoink. Okay. I forgot how to make it not do this thing. Oh, gosh. Okay, cool. My monitor had this big red box on it. It was irritating me. Okay, so Chapter 9 posted on Wednesday. I'll give it to you probably during the day Wednesday, a little bit before class. Not that you're going to probably work on it before we start the chapter, but hey, you could. Reminder, the Chapter 8 vocab quizzes are here in a few minutes, so if you haven't studied, this might be a good time. And Chapter 9 vocab quiz on Wednesday. So we're going to do one of each this week. There are only 9 and 10 words, so it's pretty short. I don't think either of the lists are too hard, and they're short, so that makes it pretty easy. I'm going to give you, so we're supposed to have 2 more quizzes and 2 more in-class assignments according to the syllabus. Obviously, everything's haywire right now. But I don't give you assignments because I'm like, man, they're going to be bored. I give you more assignments rather than fewer for several reasons. And one of them is for I think of it like accident forgiveness, basically, where, if one goes poorly and you only have one assignment, then that's your whole grade. But if you have several assignments, then one bad grade is not as big of a deal. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do one more in-class assignment. It will be available on D2L over the weekend, kind of in a similar format in terms of like how do you input data anyway. Over the weekend on D2L, a similar format to the exam we did a couple weeks ago. A week and a half ago. And it'll be available over the weekend, open book, open notes. You can complete it in groups. I don't care. It's just practice assignment. Normally, I would give it to you in class, and it would have all those things, open book, open notes, open neighbor, and I would be there to answer your questions. So this is basically like a practice quiz. So it's not timed. You can do it however long you want. I don't really care. Just get it done. Is there a time limit? No, not timed. I said that kind of as you asked the question. So I'm not sure if you heard me, but yeah, it's not timed. There is by the way, if you didn't know, if you haven't figured it out already, there is a little lag between when I say something and when you hear it. Based on my testing, there's a little widget you can test for advanced video stats. It's a little over 2 seconds, about 2.25 of a second. So if I say something and you ask a question at the same time, then you'll have asked the question actually before you heard my answer, kind of thing, if that makes any sense. For which ones is there no time limit? In-class assignment 2. That will be just available for the whole weekend. It'll be over chapters 7 and 8, and you have all weekend to work on it. So remember, Chapter 7 homework, do Wednesday. Chapter 8 homework, do Sunday. And then while you're working on those, you can work on the in-class assignment. But I want you to do Chapter 7, Chapter 8 homeworks first, which is why I'm not going to make the in-class assignment available like Wednesday. I want you to do the homeworks first and then do the in-class assignment. So it'll be available probably Friday. I'll let you know. In class, we're going to do a quiz, timed. On D2L. Look. I don't know, like if you guys are on phones or something, I can imagine this is not legible. It's easy to read on a computer screen, but I can imagine on a phone it is not legible. Okay. Let's see. So that's in-class assignment 2. I'm going to give you a short quiz on in class on Monday. Just going to cover Chapter 7, Chapter 8. It's going to be short. I'm thinking like 30 minutes max because we got to talk about Chapter 9. That's more important. So we got to go through that. But again, quiz 2, going to be open book, open notes. Similar, I'll probably pick like a question off of the in-class assignment or something like that. So, in-class assignment 2 will be relatively long compared to the quiz, and then I'll pick like a question or two from the in-class assignment, and that'll be the quiz. So, do the in-class assignment, study the in-class assignment, and I might change the numbers, but it'll be the same process. So if you know how to do the process, you'll be fine on the quiz. Now, again, that's Chapter 7 and 8 only. Same thing with the in-class assignment. And then Chapter 9 will be on the exam, of course. Now, that is in-class assignment 2 and quiz 2. We need one more of each. So, in-class assignment 3 is going to be a completion grade. So that's what this says here, completion grade, which is essentially going to be an exit survey regarding the electronic tools that we've been using in class. So I'm mostly going to focus on Twitch and Discord. I'll probably sprinkle in, something about how the D2L layout was. How was your experience with MindTap? I'll probably have some other things, but my primary interest is in Twitch and Discord. Partially because I presume that most students don't want to pay for MindTap. Like, yeah, it's cool, but it's like $80 a person or something. So it's not really cheap. So I don't really think that I would want to use this in the future if it's not free. So I'm more interested in Twitch and Discord. The short version here, there's a little bit of a story behind it. this, because Twitch and Discord are not like contracted software that we have for the university, and it's also not really popular, not like a Zoom or something that's like everybody uses Zoom. I have gotten a bit of attention from the administration. Somehow it's gotten to the dean that I'm using a non-standard software. Not that they're upset, but it's just like, it kind of creates friction because they don't know how to provide support if someone's having trouble. Apparently, one of your classmates, not in your section, I don't think. Maybe in your section. Well, sorry, Sujan, I don't have control over that, unfortunately. Yeah, it's helpful. It's just not free. So the long and short of it is that I have been asked to. So not that, like, again, the administration's not unhappy, and in fact, the dean's on my side. He's happy that I'm doing something different, and it's free, so he's not worried about having to pay for it. So he likes that too. And a lot of we've got several faculty who, as you might imagine, aren't the most technologically sophisticated. Across the college, I'm not pointing any fingers, but there are those that are more comfortable than others. And so me experimenting and, kind of trying out something that might work, might not work, is useful if we are able to disseminate information. So I have my own impressions from how this experience has gone, but of course, in a lot of ways, while it's important that the faculty experience be smooth, it's also important that the student experience be good. So, all I have to say. So again, the issue is not really are we going to use MindTap, because it's just too expensive. I don't think that we would consider it. So MindTap isn't really in the discussion. So I'm glad that you liked it. And in general, I have too. I would enjoy using it in the future. I think it's worthwhile, and I would consider requiring it for an online course. For a variety of reasons, and I'd like to do it for in-person classes. I don't think there are some students, not to say for everyone, but there are some students that would be that would find that financial toll is burdensome. So I don't think that's going to be an option. So the question is really more Twitch and Discord. As Daisy said, she doesn't like Zoom, so hopefully that means that you found that you like Twitch and Discord better. But again, I'm going to put these questions in the exit survey. So the reason I gave you this lengthy exposition is because I'm going to be writing a report that's going to go, I think, outside of the college, like to the university level, about our experience. So, and I will be using your answers in this in-class assignment to inform my report. So, if you guys all come out and say like, oh man, Twitch and Discord were awesome, and that's what I'm going to tell the university. So please be honest. I don't care what you say. I genuinely don't have a vested interest. I'm more than happy to say, hey, I tried it and the students didn't like it, and here's why. That's perfectly fine. That's still a learning experience. And I wasn't totally sold on using these systems. I obviously thought it was the best, but I thought there were other good options for very good reasons. So if you have something you prefer, you will not hurt my feelings. So please, please, please answer honestly. Anything you put, you're going to get full credit. I just want to see what you think. So it'll be available. I'm going to make it available this weekend, I think. And then it'll be available like during finals week. So like weekend to weekend probably. So I'll give you your exact date on Wednesday. I don't want you to focus on it, so I might make it do, Monday to Monday or something, or Monday to Friday. I don't know. I haven't quite decided. But I want you to focus on, your content assignments first. So yeah, tell me what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts, any suggestions you have to improve. I am teaching. I've been moved. I'm not sure I mentioned this, by the way. I guess I wouldn't mention it because you guys probably wouldn't care. I've been moved to an online section of 368 for the first half of summer. So I'm going to be teaching a class very much like this online, and I'll be deciding what tools to use. So again, this will both inform what I do in the future and possibly what a lot of other people use. So I got the impression from the dean that if we come out and say Twitch and Discord are the way to go. He may have me start teaching the other faculty how to use this in the college, and so you might start seeing more of this. So don't say you like it if you don't, because you might see more of it. So honesty is definitely in your favor here. Okay, last two things. End of semester surveys. The end of semester survey, it's on D2L. It should be on your D2L homepage. When you log into D2L, before you go to any of your classes, there should be a button that says Smart Evals Login. If you can't find it, let me know. I'll help you find it. I know where mine is, but it's going to look different for me as faculty. So I'll try and find yours if you can't find it. So that is due next week. I believe it's at midnight. I don't actually know that. I presume that's the last day is Monday, but I'd suggest you get it done earlier. So again, this is another thing. Now, the in-class assignment is obviously not anonymous because I'm going to have to look at who has submitted it. I don't care what you say, so there's not like there's going to be any repercussions for your in-class assignment comments, whatever you think. I'll probably agree with you, at least to a degree. So tell me what you think. End of semester surveys are noticeably more personal, for both of you, both of us, both for the student and for the professor. And these are taken seriously. They are considered as part of my evaluation package every year until I get tenure. So people look at these. There will be something like a dozen faculty across campus that will read these evaluations. So I do welcome any criticisms you have, any constructive feedback, any praise, any comments you have. I will warn you, I've told you guys this before, I think, but some students every now and then will just make stuff up because they don't like me. You can say you don't like me, that's fine. But if you make things up, it's usually pretty obvious, and then it just looks ridiculous. So be honestly critical. Don't make things up. People can tell. So I've had it happen before, and it was laughable. So don't do that. If you're not honest, it doesn't help me. You're wasting your comment. If you just like, Dr. Cook used racial slurs. Like, no, I didn't. Like, I have video proof, right? So, anyway, people say whatever they want. So don't be one of those people, because then people ignore you. So don't wait. It's like throwing away your vote. Don't throw away your comments. Come on. Or just say nothing. That's an option as well. So please fill those out. And here's my incentive. So if you get to 80% as a class, so that's not collective among all three of my sections, but just this section specifically, if you guys get to 80% as a class, I will drop your lowest quiz grade. And this has a nice little benefit. So quiz 3 is going to be optional. So quiz 3, you say, we don't have a quiz 3. Well, okay, so we don't really have time for it, which is partially why I'm doing this. Truth be told, I would have done it anyway. But I've done it in every semester I've taught classes at NEIU. I've dropped the lowest quiz based on your evals. But you know what? It has an auxiliary benefit here in that it makes quiz 3 optional. Normally, I wouldn't do that. I've done it in the past, and it's bad repercussions. It makes students fail the third exam when I make quiz 3 optional normally, which is bad. It's happened. Because they're like, oh, I don't have to study. And then, well, yeah, you had the exam, though. It's amazing how it happens. Anyway, so quiz 3 will be during finals week. So, of course, quiz 2 has to be after quiz 2, right? So quiz 2 is Monday of next week, which is right before finals start. So quiz 2 in class on Monday. And then I'll probably make quiz 3 available for like Tuesday, Wednesday. And then I'll open up for exam 3 after that. I haven't decided exactly how I'm going to do the dates thing. I thought that system was reasonably effective. It was really tedious for me, but that's neither here nor there. A few students gave me some really enthusiastic pushback on it, that they really disliked the system. In varying degrees. And I'm talking enthusiastic, like people were really upset about it. I was trying to be helpful. That was the intention. But the thing about communication is that it's not about what you say, it's about what's heard. And, you can have the best intentions, but if it doesn't come across right, then, it doesn't, you didn't do the good thing you wanted. So, yeah, I'm going to be considering this. I'm not sure what I want to do. I haven't come up with a better solution than what I already gave you, but I'll let you know. Well, like exam 2, exam 3 will auto-grade. So, now in the case of exam 2, that's for damn sure. Can you choose to drop 2 vocab quizzes instead? No, they're not worth a whole lot though. So I think all combined they're worth 5%. So it shouldn't be a big deal. The quizzes are worth a lot more. I almost promise you that it's better. It's better for your grade to drop the lowest quiz. For the majority of students, it would be. I mean, it would be an outside case. Yeah, I think all of them together are 5%, and there's like 7 of them, right? 2, 3, 4. We skipped 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 8 of them. Each one's worth 5/8 of a point, which is, I believe, 0.625 of a percent. Slightly more than 0.6 of a percent. So not a whole lot. Okay, what am I missing? Quiz 3. Yeah, I mean, there's somebody who's going to be upset. I don't know. Probably what I'll do is I'll make fewer points. I'll make fewer parts. So I'll combine a couple of the shorter questions together, because that was kind of an issue, that some of the questions were really short compared to others. That was kind of awkward. So I might combine questions into so I'd have 3 parts instead of 5, and then I'd just make sure that the window to sign up is open longer. And I would just that's the short version. So that's what I'm thinking. I will let you know on Wednesday. I'm going to try and have that sign up open for a couple days, and then I'll email people who don't sign up. I've got to figure out, there's a bot system in D2L actually, where you can be you can set it up so on the day before it's due, if anyone hasn't submitted it, send them an email and remind them. What's the system? I got to try it. Okay, so you've still got a homework grade. I've sent the rubric to the TA. I've asked her to have it done by Monday of next week, so hopefully we'll have those grades put in by Monday. All that you have left, I think I've graded everything else. I need to look at my list. I have a list, but I think I'm missing quiz 1 and in-class assignment 1. And I will try my very best to have those in by Monday as well, so that you'll have everything you've taken until Monday. So you'll have all those grades put in. Everything will be ready for you, and then you can take quiz 3 and exam 3. Those will auto grade, and then you'll know where you stand. You can choose to take the final. And that will have its own sign up, probably. There is a dynamic renewal thing, like a dynamic release thing, but it's complicated in the wrong ways, so I'm not sure it's going to help us. I looked into it, but I don't think it's going to do the trick. Okay. That's a lot, but I think that's everything I had. Now, as Ben pointed out last time, it is a fateful day. It is April 20th. It is 4/20. So I thought that it might be interesting. I've started a vegetable garden. And unfortunately, even though I had it under shelter, we had a really bad storm the other night. And even under shelter, my plants got completely annihilated, actually. So yeah, we're totally gonna get high on onions. I'm not sure if you see, this is an onion plant. It might not look like much. It looked like more before it got obliterated by a storm. I had several onions. Now I have 3, and a couple of them are looking pretty pitiful. But you can actually rub it in your fingers, and it's onion. It's like a small onion plants. I have a lettuce that is desperately trying to live. This little guy right here. It's not doing too hot. Again, the storm really messed it up. But I have a little tiny baby. This is going to be a flower. So actually all the flowers were killed in the storm. All the saplings were killed in the storm. The seedlings were killed in the storm. But I planted extra seeds because I knew some of them wouldn't germinate. And then for whatever reason, one of the seeds that hadn't germinated after the storm kind of disturbed the soil, the seed germinated. And so it grew out from the like the wreckage. It was like all the dirt pots were like broken up and whatever. And there was a seedling had like sprouted out from it, like somehow from the bottom or something. So I have another little baby. I think this is a China aster. Unfortunately, this the China asters and the lettuce look almost identical as seedlings, so it's really hard to tell them apart. But I'm pretty sure that's what that is. So you can do that, and that's what I had done actually. Is I had them in a window, which is what the seed starting thing recommended. So what I had done was take it out during the day, and then because I got a rainstorm coming in, I took them in under a cover. But I guess like the wind and the rain was strong enough that it blew under the cover and messed them up. So I've been leaving them out like during a nice day and then actually bringing them inside. That's partially why they're here, is because I took them in from outside because it's no longer nighttime or not daytime anymore. And finally, my mother found in the yard a little baby Japanese maple seedling. So this little guy is about 6 months old, and I'll wait a couple years for it to get stronger. And then, so probably around when it's about 2 years old, I'll repot it into a bonsai pot, and I'll begin shaping it as a bonsai. But they have to get to about 2 to 3 years of age before they're strong enough to start accepting shaping without being damaged. Fun fact, if I were to really try to accelerate and make a high-quality bonsai in the shortest amount of time, what you actually do is plant it in the ground, let it grow for up to like 10 years or even more, and then you do some things to it called air layering and other stuff, and then you pot it, and it'll make the tree look really, really old in as little as 10 years, which is a long time, obviously, but for trees, to make an old tree in 10 years is pretty fast. So bonsai is a hobby of patience. So fortunately, I'm generally pretty patient. So, but I'm excited. I've actually wanted a Japanese maple, and I was waiting for the winter to end so that I could go and find one at a nursery. But because they have to hibernate, so they're not for sale during the winter. They're in winter storage, so they're hibernating. Yes, trees hibernate, which I think is interesting. They won't grow properly if they don't hibernate, so you have to hibernate them. But my mom found one, so I might still go buy a sapling because I'm going to have to wait a couple years before I can do anything with that. Right now, it's just a seedling, so it's hardly a tree. Okay, so there's my April 20th presentation. Got some little guys. I've got like a pothos and some other stuff that I brought from my house in Chicago, and I have a terrarium, but those things will last like a month without getting watered. So I left it in Chicago, watered it to the top metaphorically, and then left it in Chicago. I'm hoping it'll be alive when I come back. Okay, we'll find out. If not, they're not expensive. I can replace it, and it was brand new, so I don't have any emotional attachment. That's what it is. Okay, that's finished uploading. Great. Okay, without further ado. Oh, and by the way, Ramsina, yeah, absolutely. The plan is for them to plant outside. That's the goal. I have a little raised bed that I built in my backyard. It's not very big. It's like 3 feet long, but it's a thing. And so I've got, I had some other things. I've got some cucumbers. Pretty sure they're all dead. Gonna have to replant those. Fortunately, I have more seeds. But my lettuce and my China aster seeds are still in, and onion seeds are all in Chicago. So, kind of out of luck. Hooky. I made it visible, but you cannot see it, so it doesn't matter. Okay. Quiz, Chapter 8, Vocabulary Quiz. Okay, let's make it do. It is 7:44. Interesting. Yeah, so the seed starting kit that I have actually comes with a little like a hood, and you can it's like a miniature greenhouse. Does a thing. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, actually. Okay, folks, you should have access to your vocabulary quiz, and just for kicks and giggles. So you should have that. I want to see if do I have the view as student on the homepage? I do. So I don't know if it looks the same so when I go to student evals, student view as student. On the right column, I see Smart Evals login. So this is where you do the evaluations. So that's where that is. Good luck on your vocab quiz. As usual, I'm going to go off mic, so I'm not disturbing anyone. I'll mute the desktop audio, so if you send a message in the chat, it doesn't ding through the stream. If you have any questions, put them in the stream chat. Okay, I think that's probably everybody. We have 20 submissions. If you're not quite done, go ahead and finish it up. It's okay. Mo, I don't understand your question. I'm taking half of summer. Yeah, I have 368 in the spring, but I also have 377. However, yeah, no, I know. I read the first one. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand your question. Are you asking me about my 368 section? So I did have 2 sections of 377, and one of them did not have enough students in it, so they combined the 2 sections. So you should check your enrollment for 377 and see if it's still the same. However, I think if your section got canceled, you would have gotten an email. So I'm not sure. Enrollment is awful for the summer right now. Okay, then you're fine. Nothing changed. The whole point is that there wasn't anyone signed up in the other section. It was like 2 students or something. So it's very unlikely that you got moved because almost no one was signed up for it. So, okay. So we have stuff to talk about and not a lot of time to talk about it. So let's get to it. So we left off yesterday. Yeah, I have to wait for everyone to finish. So, and there may be a couple of people who are still straggling, and we need to move on. So I can do it after class or tomorrow or something. Your grade is currently graded out of 1 instead of 9. And so there's some weird rounding, and I'll fix it. Yeah. So last time we were talking about how to use estimates from a sample to provide information about a population mean. And so before we talked about just, this sample average is pretty close to the population average. However, we don't know how close. And so we introduced the idea of confidence intervals, these things on screen here, trying to put an actual number on how close we are. So we have this formula here, which it says that we take the, so if you remember before, we talked about x bar plus and minus the standard error, and the standard error is defined as the z associated with alpha over 2 times the square of the standard deviation of the sampling distribution, which is defined as sigma of the population divided by square root of n, square root of the sample size. So this is the formula, talked about it last time. And I happen to have a little table for you. So, of course, we have open book exams and quizzes and things. So, sure, you can use the Z table and you can look it up as a practice. But for the common ones, 90, 95, 99, you can just use the table. And I'm probably not going to try and trick you by asking you for a 97% confidence level. In a normal class, I probably would, just because it's good to make sure you really understand what you're doing. But in this case, I think if you know how to use this table, I'll let it slide. So I strongly encourage you to bookmark, print, memorize something, this table. You're going to want it. So basically, by the way, let me explain it. So confidence level goes on the left. So if I ask, I want a confidence interval with a 90% confidence level, then you go, great, confidence level 90%. All right, that's the one. That's the one right here. Parlay. That's the one. Parlay. What? Nope. Yeah, 90%, that's the one. Okay, and then you just go, and I want the number all the way on the right. So you can kind of see this is the process of how the number comes up. So we say 90%, 1 minus 90% is 0.1, and then we divide that by 2, so 0.1 divided by 2 is 0.05, and then we subtract that from 1, and that gives us 0.95. We look up 0.95 on the Z table, and that gives us a Z value of 1.645. Now, I think the easier way to do this, rather than doing this step, is to just look up this number, 0.05, and then just take the positive. So if you look up 0.05 instead of 0.95, you'll find negative 1.645. So just drop the negative sign and you're done. I think that's easier. But hey, you got the table. Just use that. So 90%, if I ask you for a 90% confidence level, you use Z alpha over 2, plug in 1.645. Remember, Z alpha over 2, this whole thing is just a number. It's just a number. It's one number. So, in this case, it's 1.645. If I ask you for a 95% confidence level, it's 1.96. You just copy it in. Erase where it says Z alpha over 2, scribble in 1.96. Simple as that. In and out. Okay, so what does this mean? Well, all right. Well, because 90% of all the intervals constructed in this manner using x bar plus or minus 1.645 times the square root, the standard deviation of the sampling distribution, then we know 90% of all these intervals constructed in this way will contain the population mean. 10% of them won't, but 90% of them will. So we can say that we're 90% confident that the interval blah, 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 blah includes the population mean. And we can say this has been established. Isn't that supposed to be small? Oh, whoops. Pushing the wrong buttons. There we go. Yeah, I was going to say, that box is not supposed to be small. I'm not sure how I froze it. Sorry about that. That's a new thing, a new trick I've learned, how to break PowerPoint. Okay, so you can also say that this interval has been established at the 90% confidence level. And on the flip side, we can say that the value 0.9, so the decimal version of 90%, is referred to as the confidence coefficient, which let me say quickly. On the quizzes, exams, if the question asks you, like, what percent is, this likely to be, and then I ask you, express your answer as a decimal, I know some of you ran into the issue where you type in, like, oh, okay, 10%. But you just typed in 10. 10 is not a percent, it's 10. You can't type in 10% because that's a non-numeric value. The percentage is a text symbol, so it'll get thrown out. It won't let you do it. The system won't let you do it. So you have to enter. If I say answer as a decimal, what I mean is answer as 0.10, not 10. Okay, so something to keep in mind. Okay, example, Discount Sounds. So suppose that Discount Sounds has 260 retail outlets throughout the United States. The firm is evaluating a potential location for a new outlet based in part on the mean annual income for the individuals in the new location. A sample of size n equals 36. And so as you're looking at this, you might want to be like, oh, n equals 36. Draw a little pencil mark on there in your head. Mean income is 41,000. Population is not believed to be highly skewed. That's good. Standard deviation, 4,500. And our confidence coefficient is 0.95. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 bits of important information. Okay, so what are we going to do? Well, we need to use x bar plus or minus z times, what goes on the top? Sigma? Yep, that's it. Okay. Had to stop and think for a second. I don't memorize these formulas either. This is one of the ugliest pluses I've ever written. This is one of the ugliest x's I've ever written. Okay, it's a little better. All right, x bar plus or minus z times sigma over square root of n. Okay, so let's look at our numbers. Mean income is 41,100 plus or minus the z we don't know yet, but we're going to take it from the table. Sigma, standard deviation, is 4,500. Oh, I skipped the z. Did you see that? I did not. PowerPoint. I didn't do that, actually. I know my handwriting is bad, but that wasn't my fault. Let's try again. Okay. Z, that's supposed to be in there. 45,000 divided by sample size. Okay. Square root of 36. Forgive my drawing with my mouse. It's not very good. But that's the idea. So you just circle your key information, plug it in the formula. It might be unfamiliar, but it's not that complicated. Just circle the important numbers, write them in the formula. Now, if we go to the table, we'll find that 95% confidence corresponds to a z value of plus or minus 1.96. So, if we plug in those numbers again, remember we have z alpha over 2 times sigma over square root of n, then that's 1.96, right? We're taking this and we're just plugging it in there, times the 4,500 over the square root of 36, which we did before. This is, of course, just the square root of 6. I'm sorry, this is just 6 divided into 4,500 times 1.96. Type it in a calculator, and you get 1,470. So it's literally just plug the numbers in the formula and type it in a calculator. So it doesn't have to be complicated. This gives us our margin of error. Now, there's a couple ways that we can use it. But we can simply say for now, we can just say that 95% confidence, the margin of error is $1,470. Okay, so what do we do with it? Well, one way to express our answer is just to say the population is between X bar, whatever, in this case, it's like what, 41,000? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. It's right in front of my face if I would read. Okay. Woo. We can say it this way. We can just say the population mean is between, it's about 41,100 plus or minus $1,470. That's one way to do it. Or you can answer in the interval format, which is you say it's between 39,630 and 42,570. So this way you're giving the middle point and you're expressing how wide your wiggle room is, or you can compute the lower and upper values directly. So if I need to say it, the way you get the lower one is you subtract this number from the big number, and the way you get the big one is adding them. So 41,100 minus 1470 and 41,100 plus 1470. So either of those answers are acceptable. A homework question will probably tell you which answer it wants, which is very important that you get it right and that you don't get them confused. So if it asks you for mean and standard error, then they want the first format. If they ask you for a specific interval, a confidence interval, then that is what this thing is called. So this is just mean and standard error, confidence interval. Okay, so not too complicated. Now, a little fun fact here. You can see that these are taking those table values and plugging in the different z values based on your confidence, going from 90 to 95 to 99. We can see that the margin of error is going up. Remember, we're plugging in a bigger z value, so the margin of error is increasing. And if you think about it, it should make sense, right? So if I say, like, how likely is it that the correct answer is in this tiny little interval? Well, I'm not very confident, right? It's probably not in there. But if I make a big interval, then I can be really confident that my answer is actually in the interval. So to be more confident, you need a bigger interval. So to have a higher degree of confidence, then the margin of error and thus the width of the confidence interval must be larger. I'm sorry, I got something in my eye, and it is really bothering me. It's probably cat allergies, because that's usually what my struggle is. Oh, I might have to go blow my nose. It's almost over. Class is almost over. I can make it. Okay, how much of a sample size do you need? Well, usually sample size of 30 is plenty. However, the population is kind of crazy, highly skewed, contains outliers. You may need 50. But, a pretty symmetrical distribution, even if it's not normally distributed, 15 sample size is fine. And if you think it's approximately normal, like if you're pulling from a normal distribution, kind of doesn't matter. Even less than 15 is fine. Just something to keep in mind. Fun fact. Okay, now, here's the other thing. All of this has been assuming we have a good estimate of the standard deviation. But sometimes we don't have one. And in that case, we have to use the sample standard deviation, S, to estimate sigma. We call this the sigma unknown case. And so instead of using z's, we're going to estimate our interval estimate using the t distribution, which there's some history on here. Here's the cool part that I think you'll care about. He worked for Guinness. So fun fact, actually, Guinness is still a world leader in statistics research. It's like one of their things. They've got a stats division, and they, in the name of like brewing better beer, they do this. Now, if you try to Google this for help later, it's going to be called, I'm going to put it in the chat. You're going to find it called Students T Distribution. The guy who invented it was writing under a pseudonym, Student, which is important because that's how it's published. Students, that's his name, Student, like Rob Cook's thing, Students T Distribution. So if you try to Google it for help or whatever, you need to type in Students T Distribution, or it'll come up as Students T Distribution. So don't be alarmed. Just so you know. Fun fact. Okay. Oh, that's how I did it. Interesting. Okay, so the T distribution is basically a lot like the Z distribution, except that it's capturing one extra fancy complicated bit, and that is your sample size. So if you think about it, if I have a very small sample, let me take a step back. So what is sigma, standard deviation. Okay, so what is standard deviation? Standard deviation is a measurement of how far apart numbers in the sample are from each other. So what that means is you're going to look how far apart this is from this, and how far apart this is from this, and how far apart this is from this, and so on. So each of these times you're measuring a distance, you're making one distance out of a pair. And except for the first one, you're reusing each of the points twice. Well, and I guess the last one as well. So you're using, this is a pair, and then use this one again, make a pair, use this one again, make a pair. So there are 3 different connections, 1, 2, 3, that can be made out of 4 individuals. If there's 5 individuals, 1, 2, 3, 4 connections. So we can see that there are n minus 1, so my sample size is 5, it's 4, sample size is 2, it's 1. There are n minus 1 different variations present in a sample based on the sample size. So we're going to use n minus 1 to estimate the interval width. So this is called the degrees of freedom. I'm not really sure why it's called that. It doesn't matter. Just know that you'll see that a t-distribution depends on degrees of freedom. And as you might imagine, the bigger your sample, the more you know about the variation in your population, and so the less wide, the more narrow your intervals will be. So as your degrees of freedom increases, the difference between the t-distribution and the normal distribution policies become smaller and smaller. So as your sample size gets bigger, there's less of a difference between the t and the z distributions. In fact, you can see, so t equals 10 is actually, well, it's not that close, to be honest. It's like halfway. 60% of the way. And then t equals 20, okay, 70% of the way from like flat to up. If you keep going somewhere around t equals 100, they become close enough. So we usually say that around 100 degrees of freedom, then at that point, you might as well just use z. It's a good enough approximation. There's no reason to worry about it. And so we actually add a line on the t-distribution table, which we call the infinite degrees row. It's written with the infinity symbol, and it's the z values. It's no different. It's exactly the same as the z values. Exactly the same. No difference. Looks like this. Okay, so I've got degrees of freedom. I could have 50, I could have 60, 80, 100, whatever's on the table. And then I look at what area is in the upper tail, which, by the way, this is the alpha over 2. So if you're looking at that table we used before, this is the alpha over 2. So if I'm asking for like a 95% confidence interval, then that's going to be 0.025, alpha over 2. So if we look at these numbers, they should look familiar. 1.645, 1.96, these are the z values in the infinity row. Now, they're not exactly the same. If you look like, well, this is 0.03 different, this is 0.08 different, this is 0.015 different. So they're not exactly the same, but it's pretty close. It's close enough for government work. That's our rule of thumb. Z equals 100. Degrees of freedom equals 100. As far as plugging this into an interval estimate, it works exactly the same. We just use the t and the s instead of z and sigma. We don't have a sigma to use, so we can't use it. So we use the s instead of the sigma, and then we use t instead of z. Otherwise, it is exactly the same. No difference. Mean plus or minus some parameter times standard deviation over the sample size. Square root of the sample size. Square root of the sample size, if I can enunciate. So that's all there is to it. Exactly the same. Let's do an example. Let's say that a reporter for a student newspaper is writing an article on the cost of off-campus housing. A sample of 16 one-bedroom apartments, n equals 16, okay. Within some radius of campus, sample mean of 750, okay, and standard deviation of 55. So you'll notice nowhere in here did it tell us like, oh, we have a population mean. Nope, we just have a sample standard deviation, okay. Now we're going to want 95% confidence interval. Okay. And we're going to assume his population is normally distributed. Okay, whatever. The rest of this is kind of, we have the important parts. N equals 16, mean is 750, standard deviation is 55, and our confidence is 0.95. Okay, we have everything we need. So if alpha is if confidence is 95, then alpha is 0.05, right? It's 1 minus your confidence. And so if alpha is 0.05, then the area in the upper tail is alpha divided by 2. So 0.05 divided by 2 is 0.025. And then what was our sample size? Our sample size is 16, which means our degrees of freedom is 16 minus 1, 15. So we just look for the intersection of 15 and 0.025, and our t value is 2.131. So our area, 0.025, degrees of freedom is 15, and we look it up on the table. And that's all there is to it. So then you plug this into your interval formula, plug it in, run the numbers, got your margin of error. You can say something like, we're 95% confident that the mean rent per month for the population, blah, 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 is between $720.70 and $779.30. Or, you could say it's about $750 plus or minus $29.3. So these are the kinds of things you can do. So hopefully you saw the process. You either use the Z if you have the sigma. If you don't have the sigma and you have to use the standard deviation of the sample, you use T. Otherwise, the process is the same. Pick the appropriate Z and T on the table, plug it in your formula, type it in the calculator, and you're done. That's it. That's everything for the chapter. There's some other stuff on here, but yeah, we're not going to cover any of that. So that's it. That's all we needed. This is kind of nice if you want a little flow chart. I'll leave this up here for the slide for you to see. But that's everything we have for today. So thanks for coming. Thanks for paying attention. Thanks for chatting. Bloody brilliant. Yeah, I'm glad you liked it. I think this is kind of beautiful. Like, it's actually, to me, it's like surprisingly simple. That, sure, it's unfamiliar to a lot of you, and I get that. Anything unfamiliar is hard just because it's new. So I'm not saying it's easy. It's simple. There are very few steps involved, and that's to me is what's beautiful about it. Anything new is hard, or can be hard, but it's simple. It's beautiful for its simplicity. So I'll cut the video here for anyone watching on YouTube. Thanks for coming by. Catch you on the next one.